Hey there. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be part of a podcast that discusses the latest trending tech news without bias, without favoritism, without any form of... I can't remember the English, but let's keep going. So my name is Emmanuel, and I'm here with...
I'm Oluwanifemi, but what's wrong with you?
Come on.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Oh, what's going on here?
That felt weird, man.
Wow, okay, it didn't come out right. It didn't come out well. Wow.
That was like, what's going on here?
Wow. You think you know people. You think people have your back, right? But
Yeah.
If I go somewhere and you know the way they do it in Hollywood movies now.
This is Techpoint Africa Podcast, not
you know
CNN.
the way they do it in Hollywood movies where you go on stage and talk nonsense, but your people are still cheering for you. Oh, I'm proud of you.
Deep down, I'm proud of you, but
you're not.
you're just
disgracing me.
Those ones have been dishonest. You are very honest people, and we put the truth.
Wow.
I mean, we are the media. We need to always put out the truth, never biased. I mean, you just said it yourself, so you can't be biased.
It's okay.
So, anyway, before you forget, my name is Chimgoziru. For those of you.
Oh, so you haven't mentioned your name?
Yeah, I had not.
I didn't notice. So, okay. So, see, guys, this is going to be an interesting one. Like I said, no bias, no favoritism. Even though some people's goats are getting into tech, but why are you raising up your hand? Did I call your name? Why are you raising up your hand? So, but yeah, there are lots of interesting stories, and the Nigerian tech spaces. Today is going to focus a little bit on Nigeria, but we're going to zone out to East Africa and stay tuned to the end to actually discover what the Lagos state government is up to. And this time around is not negative. It's actually interesting. So, yeah. First off,
Messi. AKA the greatest to ever do it.
I give you 2 minutes and get this over with, please.
So let's
the greatest player of all time, the greatest footballer of all time.
Let's calm down with the greatest of all time conversation, because we will not live here if we start that.
We can start on that podcast.
It's just to chase both of you out of the studio, and I will finish this up by myself.
Why? It's not a podcast anymore. It's just you should have done
this up.
Should have just done 7 minutes. Allow us to talk this. Mention the story.
Okay.
Breathing. Out.
No, I mean, come on. It's always interesting. I mean, we would have not brought this to the podcast, but when we heard Messi was getting into tech, Messi is becoming a tech bro. We have to bring him to the podcast. I mean, come on.
I mean, every day that the best footballer on the planet.
Like, even people that don't know
to do that don't know about tech, they
know Messi.
Please, did you shout when Serena Williams?
No, it's also part of the conversation.
Serena Williams.
Yes.
Serena Williams has been she's been doing that for a very long time. I think 5-6 years now. So we are not.
Even though
Techpoint Africa podcast then.
Even though Adventure invested in Nigerian.
Oh yes, I think that's actually the bigger story.
Did we shout?
It's not really the bigger story. That investment was like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
And so did we shout there? So what's the best?
There's no galaxy, no planet, no world where Serena Williams is.
Careful with your next few sentences.
Is on the same level as. I mean,
who is grading? Please.
She's the greatest.
What is this guy doing on this podcast today?
Yeah, the one that put him on.
But I mean, why will you compare Serena Williams and Lionel Messi?
We're not comparing. Please move on to the news. Messi did what?
For the sake of representation, Serena Williams too. She has her own VC firm. She's investing in startups. She has invested in Steers. She has invested in Andela. Are you fine?
No, go ahead.
Yes.
So Messi did what?
To the important news, really important news.
Wow.
I signed
up on this podcast when they start dragging you like Tiger Gen.
The Argentine footballer, they should drag. Should they have fuel if flood does not carry it?
No, that's not funny.
That's not something to talk about, please.
Yeah, but yeah, Lionel Messi is getting into tech. He's investing in tech startups through Playtime. That's the name of the new venture. So they're supposed to start very, very soon, and he's partnering with 2 Silicon Valley veterans, Razmig Hovagimian and special advisor Michael Marquez. So
I apologize
On
Nigerians' behalf.
Yeah.
He
So
just completely murdered the name. Okay, let's not dwell on too much on that. We just wanted to just show you that tech is becoming ubiquitous. Tech is getting into our everyday lives.
It'd be a good time for us to call out Nigerian footballers.
Yes.
This might be a good time for you guys to get in. I mean,
Yes.
there's a reason why Messi is in. What's this guy? Blaise Matuidi has been investing in. I think he invested recently. I can't remember the name of the startup, but he has done something in Honda. He's actually a VP.
Japan's Honda.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's actually a VP at a.
So just to be clear, Honda, the player,
Yeah, not
the
the.
very crazy shots.
Yes.
Honda and Endo in Japan, those guys, not Honda the vehicle. Yeah. So
Yeah.
continue.
So like those guys they've gotten involved in tech. They've been doing it for like 3 to 4 years. I know Matuidi, I think his own investment was last year, but yeah, they've been doing that. I think some England footballers too, like the younger guys studying and like think Sancho, and they're trying to like use their star power. So kind of similar to what Nigerian musicians have done with the likes of Old School.
Chipakash, all of them. Yeah, that's actually cool. I think for investment, I think it's only Old School that's head
It's
for
only Old School
investment.
you've heard of, yeah. Although I think
Yeah, Files and
what's it
Ajapata.
called? Mr. Easy invested
Mr.
in.
Easy,
Oh.
yes.
I've forgotten
yes.
the name of that
It's not
fintech.
Lagadat,
That's the
Yeah,
investment
yeah,
fund. I'm talking about the startup
I forgot the name of the
he invested in.
invested in.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. So,
I mean, it's good.
which Nigerian player can we look up to? Is it
Can we look up to
Kanu.
plenty to
No, we can't mention Kanu. Kanu has
Mikel?
done a lot.
Mikel?
Children with heart conditions. That is his healthcare foundation.
Still doesn't
Let
mean
him
like
stick with that. You
Okay.
can invest in health tech startups actually. And
Mikel can.
Mikel, who else?
Alex Iwobi.
Will be Iheanacho,
Iheanacho.
Osimhen of Napoli,
Didi.
yeah. So many options, and but we can't talk about this without talking about regulations, right? And today's podcast is is filled with regulations. Now, number one, we're starting with the bad to the good and the confusing. I don't know why we put it in that order, but yeah, you guys, why did you put it in good, bad, confusing? Oh, you're doing me thumbs up. No problem. Okay, so Uganda is saying people should stop misusing their computers. Like you, I saw you carrying computer with the screen.
that's not what they mean.
Stop disrespecting me.
I think
Like,
that, okay,
if they
this-
catch
that's
you,
the
oh
genesis
God.
of what's going on here.
Okay.
Like when the title of a bill is confusing, right, and the content is abstract or vague, that is how we have gotten to where we are now. So this thing is so what happened is that 13 petitioners, including activists, journalists, lawyers, have filed a case with the constitutional law against just to challenge the Uganda's Computer MisUse Act. Computer misuse. That is the thing. Computer misuse.
Eating food near your laptop.
Yeah.
And buying Zobo and everything and putting in your laptop.
Pouring.
So please let me explain what this is about.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Last month, this bill became a law, was passed into law.
Okay.
The Computer Misuse Act.
So what is it supposed to be?
So it's supposed to introduce some measures to internet users to you must stop. Where's the camera? Don't look at me, you're confusing me. To make sure that people that internet users use it in scrupulous ways.
Why are you? What is the
What's the content?
what is
Okay, the
in
content-
everyday language? What is scrupulous?
It's lawful, it's legal. Okay, for instance, now you're not supposed to capture somebody with, say, your mobile phone or digital devices without person's consent.
One.
Something like that.
Content creators, take notes.
Right, the hate speech, and you are supposed to watch what you say
Online, okay,
right?
okay.
Those kind of content. The same thing we fought against with the Nigerian
media
social media bill and hate speech bill right? This is what has been passed into law in Uganda, and if you break any of this, you can attract like a 10 years sentence.
The jail terms are really
Like just for insulting someone online, I guess 10 years.
Yes, but there are some good parts that look good, like parents that allow their children to use digital devices or internet platforms without
supervision.
And they
intend to track that.
They'll do what? With what?
Excuse me. Well, that is the thing with laws that are passed into bills that are passed into law in Africa. They are vague. Mode of implementation are not properly communicated. Well, anyway, the suit that is filed against the government for this law is to make them to explain properly, right? What does hate speech mean? Right? These words are vague, right? When do I really know that I am breaking a law, right? Because if you don't lay them out, when there are loopholes, when you do something, say against the government, maybe during an election period, as we've come to see with African government, especially those that clamp down on the use of internet during election period, or when there's a protest, or when examination is going on, when you don't define these things and you allow these laws to be in place, whenever somebody does something that is against the government, right, and they want to clamp down against them, they just go to this kind of provisions, look for a loophole there, and use it to nab the person.
So the way I'm thinking about it might not even just be saying stuff against the government. So based on my recent experience, that was last week, was not nice. But based on my recent experience, I guess companies who don't like what you write about them online can actually sue you for hate speech. So on Twitter, you go on, not just Twitter, Facebook, you see people bashing companies, saying like companies, brands, popular people, celebrities, and people could get sued for hate speech. And it brings up a lot of questions that are so philosophical that we shouldn't discuss it right now. But whole question about what is hate speech exactly, and who should be in control of speech.
Exactly. So when you can
determine what it is.
The thing is, I don't know countries that have working social media abuse or laws, right? Maybe they can get those ones that are really working and are not sounding as if they are infringing on citizens' rights. That is, you get, because if you don't delineate these things, if you don't make them very clear, right?
So the government should determine what hate speech is.
Exactly.
Why are they the ones to determine it?
Is it determine or
there are other stakeholders actually? These people that are petitioning are stakeholders. Journalists are stakeholders.
Activists. So everybody comes on board.
Exactly. The way there was a public hearing for the Startup Bill, I think in 2020.
Startup Bill 2020? No. Startup Bill started last year, 2021.
Which one?
It was social media
sorry,
bill.
I mean social media bill. Sorry, social media bill. It was proposed in 2019, and in 2020 there was like a public hearing or something. Stakeholders bring their voices to it. I don't know the processes that they went through in Uganda to arrive that it eventually got passed into law, because the kind of criticism that Nigeria's own is facing, I don't know the length it will go. I think it has only passed the first reading.
The social media bill.
Yes.
So let's not even go down that rabbit hole, because they've left the social media bill alone. It passed second reading.
Oh, it did.
But it didn't scale through the public hearing. So, but they've been finding ways to actually introduce it, different ways. They've come through the NIDA code of practice. They've gone through the NBC broadcast code. They've come through even ACON, trying to vet ads. Everything's really, really smells of regulating social media. But the point you made about ecosystem people coming together to work on a bill leads us to something positive for the Nigerian space. So yeah, let's leave Uganda for some time, and for some reason, I have to talk about the Fintech Summit right now. Yes, because they've been complaining that I don't tell you guys about the Fintech Summit on time. So I have to tell you right now. We're bringing the biggest stakeholders in tech, in fintech space, and we're about to show you the different ways, the different ramifications that fintechs are impacting the lives of people. And the crazy thing is, this is just the beginning. Right now, we're seeing fintechs helping people receive payments, helping people receive collateral-free loans to meet urgent needs. We're seeing them do a lot of crazy stuff. And this is just the early stages, right? What we want to find out what next in the fintech revolution. Head over to fintech.techpoint.africa. It will be holding on November 26th at 4 Points by Sheraton. And the show is about to begin with the hackathon way before the event starts. Chingoze, you're supposed to tell us about the hackathon.
Yes. So, the hackathon has begun. Entries have closed.
Entries have closed. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So no need to talk too much about it then.
Yeah, but you'll be getting feedback on social media to just follow. If you didn't apply, well, sorry for you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So let's come back to the Nigerian Startup Bill, right? In May 21, the whole process really kicked into gear, and it has gone. The speed, I've actually not seen a bill that was this fast.
An important bill.
Yes.
That was this fast.
Yeah.
So it's
passed through. It was proposed. When was it? 2020.
I mean, so
2021. That's passed through first reading.
Yeah. According to our timeline, it should have even come earlier, way earlier. But even
better late than never. And
so here's the thing that's interesting about the startup bill. You know, running a business in Nigeria is filled with policy somersaults. Governments can come up with laws today and come up with another thing tomorrow, and regulations here and there. We've seen things like the Lagos Okada ban of 2020 January. It just came, and we had to, roll with it, right? And we've seen the crypto ban. We've seen so many things. Yeah, but we wanted a law that wanted a single piece of legislature that unifies everything. And that's what the startup bill offers. But what is interesting about the startup bill is it didn't start from the government. It started from the ecosystem. So people in the ecosystem actually pushed this bill, and well, not everyone, but a number of people in the ecosystem actually pushed this bill, and it started getting traction. Started with the presidency. The senior special advisor to the president on innovation, Oswald Kupadia, was the one spearheading the whole conversation. We actually had him recently.
We'll drop the link in the description.
Yeah. So you guys should have reminded me to put the video on the podcast. Oh, okay. Thank you. So yeah, so just to summarize, right? Startup is supposed to do three major things for you. Number one is to give you the label of a startup. We will actually know who a startup is right now. Number one, if you are older than 10 years old, you are not a startup. So it's not a startup.
Nice one.
So all those people calling Jumia. And if you're a big corporate organization, you've been existing for donkey years, you want to catch on to the tech craze and you want to build a subsidiary, you are not a startup, please. Whatever that subsidiary you are building is not a startup.
But okay, so I have a problem with that definition.
Why?
A startup, according to some people, is an organization that is just designed to move really fast.
That's according to some people. But is that not Silicon's Valley definition of a startup?
Yeah.
So Canva, do you think they were like that?
To a large extent, they were.
Calendly, do you think Calendly was like that?
Calendly experienced
an excruciating climb to where it is now.
Yeah.
They didn't raise money like serious venture capital fund for a long time.
So you don't always need to raise money.
No, but
moving
fast.
How do you raise money? How do you move fast without?
You can move fast if you're capital efficient and you have like a very good product that maybe has like a product that basically sells itself.
So simple question now: is Piggy West moving fast?
Are they moving fast?
Yes.
2 million users in about 5 years, or 3 million at last count in 5 years. That's fast.
That's fast.
Yeah.
5 years, 3 million.
3 million users.
So
the biggest banks in Nigeria with about 10 million users. How long did it take them to get there? Some of them even needed consolidations in order to get there.
So by default, when you're using technology to create a business that scales,
It's a startup, right?
it's a startup. So, but
My problem is with
parts of things that I'm confused with.
yes, because you may that I think it's still dicey because you may not really need to move fast. I mean, if I'm a B2B startup and I can pull in mad revenue by servicing the government, for example.
P2G.
Okay, B2G or really large corporates, and just maybe 10 alone can do revenues of like equivalent to having like 300,000 B2C customers. Now, I don't think I need to have.
But we're seeing B2B SAS, a SaaS startup coming up too.
Yeah, they can they may not also need to move. So fast will not be relative. Maybe fast could be going from 0 to 10,000 in maybe 3-4 months or 5 months or 6 months. I mean, it's relative. It's not like it's predefined. But what my problem there is, a bank can have a startup. A large corporate can't be a startup, and ideally, we can't call PiggyVest a startup anymore.
Why not?
They are gradually getting to the point where
They're not to 10 as far as I'm concerned.
yeah, they're not up to 10 years.
Uh-huh.
But do we have to use 10 years? I mean, 5 years after. So a lot of businesses would typically fail in the first 3 years, and that's where it's assumed after those 3 years you've validated your idea. You now have product market fit, and you're no longer struggling to stay alive. You're now looking for how to scale. PiggyVest is at that point where you're looking for, or where they would probably be thinking, should we move out of Nigeria? Should we enter into other services? So they found product market fit a long time ago. It's almost like it found them. They didn't even need to go looking for it.
Go so
They
far.
found that they have a very good product that a lot of people swear by. So
And they have good customer
and they have
service.
good customer service, very important.
Good customer
So
service.
they are up to 5 years as well. So they've been in the market for a while. It's not like this is a 2-year-old company.
Yeah.
So after 5 years, do you still need to go with that startup tag?
It's not by force. So,
So
see,
the
the
startup
conversation
label,
here is
yeah.
that is if you want a startup label, right?
No,
So, I think
can I opt out? Because if
you want to enjoy the benefits, right? So let me quickly list out the benefits, right? So you're supposed to get tax breaks. So there's something called the Pioneer Status Incentive that was established several years ago to give tax breaks of up to 3 years for companies in key industries: ICT, agriculture, mining, manufacturing, construction, and all of that.
why is media not there?
which you want Pioneer again?
Talking about media, Techpoint is almost 8. 2 years. We will not be startup again. We can't collect startup label and tax breaks. But you are okay. Okay, but that's by the way. But yeah, tax breaks, Pioneer Status Incentive. So people that have that startup label would now be considered, because so far so good. No tech company
Has gotten that.
ICT is supposed to be in that list, but so far so good. I please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any tech company or startup, let's use the word startup now, I don't think any startup has gotten it. Flutterwave should have gotten it, but currently it was said that they applied late. So, but that is, apart from that, you could also be entitled to a 4-year tax break. So that period you're not meant to pay personal.
So now that 4-year tax break, is it from inception of the company?
From the moment you get the startup label.
So that means if I need that startup label, I have to go after it. I can't just sit back.
Yes, you
and-
actually have to register and get certified in startup.
Validation.
And
They are
once you
the
do-
part where after you get the tag, you have to give some like an annual report
yeah,
of
on your
whatever it is that is going on.
financials, human resources, assets you acquire, you
That's
have to
smart.
give that report. Then they're setting up a seed investment fund for the startups. So they're going to create a body that manages this fund, and whoever get these funds on recommendation of the manager, right? It doesn't have anything to do with man, no man, right? So, so then, of course, capacity building and trainings, right? It's in 2 ways. They're going to be employing partners that will help entrepreneurs and startups get trained, get requisite skills. But what I'm particularly interested in is they want to partner with universities who are always on strike to train students in skills that are needed for the industry, which is something that is very critical.
They've been doing already. Yes, governments are collaborating with startups.
Oh, cool.
Yes, edtech startups especially to train people.
How many people have they trained?
Yeah.
Okay,
we don't have the data, but we've gotten notices about some of these collaborations.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
But for 8 months they were at home. That's what I'm trying to point out.
Okay.
So, but
why train them if you're going to keep them at home?
So that they can
disrupt their lives. So what happens if after I'm done training?
They can go and hustle.
And now then one of the benefits is also to make entry level what's it called, tech people to be available for these startups. So when you train them, they are able to place them in these
government to do that.
I'm just saying it's one of the benefits. Now, as if that's all you are going for.
You don't have to sound like you are defending the government.
I'm not defending the government.
Okay,
I'm just stating the facts.
There's one more thing. So tax breaks, the capacity building and training, the seed investment fund, and finally help with regulations. So that they are supposed to assist you with CSC. So yes, and that reminds me, the company has to be a limited liability company if you want to get that startup label. Number one, it must be limited liability. Number two, it must have at least one Nigerian co-founder, not co-founder on paper, co-founder that actually receives dividends or will get revenue from whenever the share is sold, whenever the startup is acquired. Then it must not be older than 10 years, as I mentioned. It also must not be a subsidiary of a holding company or a company that is not a startup. It must not be a subsidiary of that.
But I think that's quite non-inclusive.
Wait. Let me finish the benefits.
Okay.
Wait.
Startup Bill self not even the inclusive.
Okay. Wait.
Sorry, please go on. We're talking about the benefits
for the podcast, please. So yes, they are going to be helping you with. So for fintech companies specifically, running a fintech is not easy. Yes, the fintech act should have come after this. Running a fintech is not easy, and they are going to help you with regulations with the CBN, the SEC, and if you are trying to develop a product, you have no idea how to go about regulations. They are going to have a startup portal, and there will be a corner of the website where CBN and SEC can engage with you as a startup. So this is a reminder to go to fintech.techpoint.africa to register for the event. So that is a very, very important one.
It is because
regulations are going to. But you were saying something about it not being inclusive.
Yes, before I say something about not being inclusive, I remember a stakeholder in the fintech space, mentioning the fact that you can't even go to anywhere. Like you have an idea to probably have a lending platform or found a lending startup, right? There's nowhere you will go to know like extensively what you need to have, who you need to speak with, what licenses you have to acquire, things you have to do. That there's no way that has it extensively. You will just get a few information, start what you have to start, then basketball starts coming from every corner, right? So I think this is very important, right? You have access to SEC and CBN, who are the major at the top of the stakeholder list, to tell you if you are doing anything wrong or what you should prepare for as you go on. I'm not defending the government with the look you are giving me. So talking about it not being inclusive, right? We've seen corporate companies that are looking to delve into the tech space, and they can't just totally change their models. Yes, we have to talk a lot about it because the startup bill is very, very important. So, becoming a startup act is not an easy feat. I'm talking to the people behind the scene. Don't rush us. So,
nice one. Everybody will collect.
What I was saying.
But I just remember something. So everything we've been saying here is based on the latest updates that we can find online. So it's possible they have made updates to the current bill that has been signed, or the Startup Act 2022 that has been signed. But based on what was there, or what is there as we speak, that's what is there. That's the provision. But I actually support the provision. Do you know why?
Why?
You're a corporate. You want to build an innovative subsidiary. Well, fund it with your money. Why do you need the startup label? Why do you want to get tax breaks from the government? Why Why do you need all those incentives?
Maybe it's not
Because
just for
what
the incentives. Is that the only thing you
So
are
I don't
doing?
need the startup label, but I could go for the tax breaks. Maybe, I mean, I don't need your fund because I should.
Tax break is like they are giving you grant.
Well, what I'm doing, I mean, when you give tax breaks, the idea is that you guys are creating a service that is really beneficial to the country or people who live in the country. So let's assist you in some way. So if I say all I need is that this arm of my business isn't taxed for a certain period, I think it's fair enough.
Yes.
Apart from 1 or 2 banks, I've not seen any big corporate that has done anything innovative. It's all they want to do payments to copy, paste, that can float away.
You don't know what the future holds.
I've not seen so far. So
Possibly
And tech
because
is
there's a whole
attractive.
lot of regulation, and my own problem with is inclusiveness is why is tech being singled out? Why are they giving so much favors?
You don't have to start with that
Because-
conversation because Startup Bill, as you come to know, is the ecosystem people came up with it and they've pushed it to this extent. It's not as if
So
tech
if I
is
go
being
and start,
singled
if
out.
I go and gather all the fishing stakeholders, we will now have the fishing
Yes, drag whatever it is you want to
the
drag.
fishing bill or the fishing act. I mean that would probably get to a point where you have like,
no, you can build Uber for fishing.
no, what if I don't want to
Use
use
tech.
the so-called tech?
What he's trying to
build
say
it?
is that tech is singled out, that tech is being favored over other industries.
Yes,
And yeah,
I agree. Why it's so? This is the thing, right? You are playing in a space and you are facing regulatory wahala. Then you decide to take matters into your hand and start lobbying the government to
is
create
there any
laws that
business?
favor
Is there any business in Nigeria that's not facing regulatory
And
wahala?
they
they should take matters into their own hands.
Exactly.
So the startup bill is like for me, the startup bill is like a template every other business circle should actually follow. You are running stuff in trade, in commerce, or transport, and you want to have laws that favor you. Then, if you see, I've mentioned this on the podcast before. You need to see how much companies spend to lobby the government in foreign countries. Those foreign countries that supposedly have better business environment, the government is not interested. I was in an interview I had a few days ago. The government is interested in putting food in your table. We don't have lights. We don't have good roads. They are not interested in what do you want to come and tell them. That's why you are always seeing them doing relief funds for farmers, those kind of things. But still, they are still facing lots of challenges. So I think it's easier said than done. I'm probably just saying things as an outsider, but I'm saying it's a template that can actually work in a particular industry. You want to cause change in that particular industry.
Get
then
the
come
government
together. No,
involved.
not just even get to come together first.
Content creators, can you hear that?
And health guys, you guys should talk more. Your
The
agriculture.
creator economy bill.
Let's move on.
Yeah. But yeah, that's I think an industry that has done that so well is the banks. They know how to lobby the government. They see Facebook goes
It doesn't mean that they don't collect regularly.
Yes, Google, Facebook, they lobby the government and they see collect buzzwords. Oh man, okay, let's move on to.
We will not
Government.
hear from our employer.
Oh yes, please. We are going to be talking about Lagos State. We're coming down from Nigeria to Lagos State is doing something that I think is interesting. I mean, good, but it's still kind of confusing. So we need. We're actually in the middle of getting them to talk on the podcast and even write an article about them. But before we head into that, let's pay homage to the people paying our house rent.
Hi, I'm Abisola Adenoga, the head of business at Techpoint Africa. Did you know that you could present yourself as a reputable brand leader? Did you know that your business can get the limelight it deserves? Now you do. Using Techpoint Africa's marketing tools, we can put you in the faces of a large audience for brand awareness and thought leadership. To do this, reach out to us by sending an email to business@techpoint.africa or click on the link in the description below.
Hey guys, welcome back to.
What is the problem?
What were you thinking about?
I wasn't thinking about anything. What do you think I was thinking about?
like all eyes on you. Be like maybe you're thinking about how is Lagos State government involved in VC. What has led them here?
So I know of the Lagos Angel Network, right?
Yeah, that's private sector.
The private sector. But why is the Lagos State government starting a venture capital firm?
Why?
Okay, give us the story first. What's the lowdown of everything? And I'm actually curious.
Okay. The Lagos State government wants to start investing in startups. So this was reviewed last week by the special advisor to the governor.
That's what you're going to say by the special grace of God.
Yeah, the special advisor to the governor, Olatunbosun Alake, on technology, on innovation and technology, reviewed this last week. And
maybe Gracious has to be putting accents so that you can recognize the pronunciations.
Alake or Alake.
Okay.
Oh, so
Probably
even the family
Alake.
Continue, Jerry.
Anyway, you guys shall go who the person is. Essay to the governor on innovation and technology, and they are planning to launch their own venture capital firm in the next few weeks. So that could be anything from 2 weeks to 7 weeks to 52 weeks. We are sure not certain of the timeline. So when that's reviewed, you'll be the first to know. But yeah, that's like the lowdown on it. We don't have.
Bless you.
We don't have details on ticket sizes. We don't have details on the size of the fund, which they say would be bigger than most funds or most private funds, which is very curious.
How will it be funded?
They say they are currently in talks with local Nigerian investors to come on as LPs, and I don't know why you're still in talks at this point when you plan on launching in a few weeks. So I don't think it's impossible for them to have the largest fund. This is Lagos you're talking about, and they should be able to pull in 200 to 300 million, or pull in a 200 to 300 million dollar fund. It shouldn't be an issue for them, because they don't even have to be restricted to Nigerians. They could go anywhere. Anybody could come on as an LP. But I think it's interesting. It's a good development. The problem will now be management of the funds and how it will be disbursed. One thing
And
that
also the continuity.
Yeah, but I assume that it will be like they'll have to back it with an act that ensures that even after the present government leaves, it remains. But one thing that the SA mentioned is that they are going to be backing startups across all verticals, the usual suspects: fintech, health tech, ed tech, and all. But something else that he said that's very interesting is that whereas typical VC firms wait or are looking at a 10-year fund lifetime, that they'll be looking at taking a longer term view, which is really, really good. So for now, this is a developing story. We don't have all the details, but I think we have an idea of what the fund thesis is like: fintech, health tech, and all of that. We also have an idea that they will be writing larger checks. So I am wagering a guess that they'll be investing anywhere from $200K to possibly $3 to $5 million in each startup. So yeah.
So aside from the concern of continuity, which you've addressed, I somewhat agree with you. I'm also concerned about the bureaucracy that surrounds government-backed initiatives, right? And the lobbying that can come and the embezzlement that can come with it, right? So when you are able to get this fund from any channel they want to get it from, how do you appropriate them to the right people? How do you vet people that you invest in? All those kind of things, they are very, very, very hard to monitor and track when it has to do with government.
So unlike a regular government initiative where they are saying they are giving out this money to people, you don't expect returns. this is a VC fund, and VCs will, at the very least, want some returns. So yes, startups fail, and you can always use that as an excuse. But if too many startups are failing, I think it should boil down to who they choose as a general partner, or who the people that they choose as partners to manage the fund. That's where it will boil down to. And I'm interested in seeing who they choose. But beyond that, the fact that you need to show working, it's not like I'm giving you money. It's not like you shall know some of the programs that they give people money and then they use it to marry a second wife, right? This one, you're going to be showing me that you're doing something. I can always come ask you for your records. Thank God for this startup bill that is coming, which Lagos State also have. They've already planned to domesticate it. So let's assume it has the same provisions. You will now be required to show financials. So those are like steps they could take. And also because there will be LPs. If you take money from the IMF, for example, you are not going to be telling them story now. You won't be telling AFDB stories after taking money from them. So that's my hope.
Yeah, those are very important points, and I'll leave this discussion here because we have a lot of unfinished business on each of the topics: the Ugandan Computer MisUse Act, the Startup Bill, and of course
the Startup Act 2022.
Startup Act 2022.
It takes time to get used to.
Sorry. Yeah, so I mean, a lot of these things. One major point I would want to air right here is the issue of implementation. But this time around, I'm thinking things might be a little bit different, but we might have to change our detached and laid-back approach to engaging with the government and have to be actively involved. The startup bill is not going to get implemented.
I want them to hear. We are not opening the mic.
Okay, no problem.
Make it
So,
loud.
yeah, the reality is the startup bill is not going to get implemented just because it has become an act. Okay, the president has signed it into law. It doesn't automatically mean you start enjoying all those benefits. It will take a lot of effort on your part to actually demand that the government gives you what is your due. Demand. So the work begins now. This is just like a new phase for a lot of startups, right? This is the act. This is the law. Okay, what can you do with it? And I'm not saying this because I'm this expert that knows how to engage with the government. I'm saying this because based on my few interactions, I've come to understand that this act is not about what the government can do, but it's about what you can demand from the government and force them into doing it. So yeah, that's the key takeaway from this podcast, right? Things might be confusing. There might be conflicting regulations that come up, like the NIDA Code of Practice, the social media bill, and all of that. But when you know that, okay, there's a law that actually helps and supports you as a startup, then you can use that as your launch pad. So let me know what you think. And if you have any counter argument, you have some thoughts you want to contribute to this podcast, let me hear from you. You can reach out to us at podcast@techpoint.africa. Then wherever you're watching us from, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, those guys, love you guys.
Twitter,
LinkedIn. I always separate those three first on purpose.
But you can also listen to this podcast on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, and anywhere else you.
So Bolu is mounting. It's not sounding like Bolu, but Bolu is just trying
to. Deliberate. I can't match Bolu's energy. I can't.
Okay, so guys, so see you and catch you in the next one.
Bye.